does private parties, etc., and he's originally from Antigua, and of course that's our own John Delavadova. Thank you guys, that was great. We might have you play again as we head out today, okay? Thank you. Today our song and pledge are by Jerry Murator, and on the piano is Tom Wolfe, and visitor introductions by Steve Mason, and our invocation will now be given by President-elect Rhonda Renz.
Good afternoon. Please bow your heads with me. Heavenly Father, we come to you today asking for your blessing. We pray for guidance and ask that you would clearly show us how to conduct with a spirit of joy and enthusiasm. Help us to work together and encourage each other to excellence. We thank you for the food that is before us today and bless the hands that prepared it. Amen.
Actually, the steel drums are here because Oktoberfest starts next Wednesday night. You playing? Are you playing out there, John? Yeah. So you come out and see John Delavadova. I don't know what he's got to do with Oktoberfest, but he's going to be there. And if you will join me in God Bless America, followed by the pledge, I'd appreciate it. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Also, let me remind you, next Thursday at 5:30, President Karen Keith and myself will be doing the opening of Oktoberfest. So if you want to come out for the, and the shuttle is free. So take the shuttle bus. It's free. There's 5 different areas, and that's about all they'll let me say about it.
Thank you, Jerry. I'm really looking forward to that. Our Rotary sponsors this week are Greg Keck, Jackie Cooper Imports, Dick Gable, Don Kyle, Paul Johnson, and Paul Rossler with Gable Gottwal's Council, Terry Lawson, Vision Source Tulsa, and Dana Burks, Clifford Power Systems, Inc. Special thanks to all our sponsors for their support, and of course, we encourage you to do business with fellow Rotarians. Please thank all of our sponsors and all of our volunteers who helped out today. All right, we've got a long list of committee meetings today, above and beyond, room 232. Classifications, room 233. IBA, room 107. International Service, Parker Hall, and Up with Trees is in the Beacon room. And thank you all for attending your committee meetings. And other announcements, Rotarian Mark Colmia suffered a heart attack over the weekend. On Monday, Mark had a stent put in, and he is here today to tell the tale. There are cards on your tables, so please tell Mark how glad you are that he is already back on his feet, but more about Mark a little later. Yeah. Hats off to Marty Alexander and John Raines for organizing a terrific social event last Sunday. Thank you, Trish Kirkstra, for the fantastic hospitality. The food and fellowship was absolutely great. And I understand those who took the Botanical Garden tour had an outstanding educational experience. And those of us who were daredevils, we did the zip line canopy, and things went well. Depends were not necessary. It was cool. All right, mark your calendars for a flu vaccine before and after Rotary, October 16th. And we have to thank Terry Heritage, Interim Healthcare, for setting this up year after year. The Monday Morning Minute will have the form, so you can go ahead and fill it out. If you'll print it off, fill it out and bring it in. Otherwise, we will have forms here for you to fill out when you get here, but it might make it quicker if you've already got them filled out. So that's next week. Marty Alexander will have a 2014 Rotary International Convention in Sydney, Australia, and she's got the brochures available at the badge boxes after today's meeting. So pick it up if you'd like to know more about the group tour she's putting together. And when she puts it together, you know you're going to be able to get to and from the convention, you're going to be in a great place, and you're going to be in the best place to see Sydney. For the October 30th meetings, Mystery Rotarian, it has been suggested that if you have a Halloween costume, a picture of you in a Halloween costume, I would really like to have that. In my email, by the way, I've been meaning to tell you this, it's kkeith@tulsacounty.org. If you're still using the old books, it's not kkeith1@cox.net. kkeith@tulsacounty.org. I'd love to have some pictures of you, and if they're old, that's great. If they're fairly recent, that's fine. Let's just see you in some costumes. We may put up a goofy montage and have some fun with that. We have a new member to present today. Phil Viles, please introduce our newest member, Chuck Shipley.
I was on the Rotary.org website last night for the first time in a long time, and it says our distinct point of view and approach gives us unique advantages. We see differently, we think differently, we act responsibly, and we make a difference at home and around the world. Chuck Shipley had exemplified all of these when he helped the Cherokee Nation during the constitutional crisis of the late 90s. I've said before that I'm not sure the Cherokee Nation would have survived without his help. And since that time, he's turned his attention to his civil practice and to his business litigation. I bet he'll make a fine Rotarian. Please welcome Chuck Shipley.
Welcome. Thank you. And special thanks to Ed Hicks for conducting new member orientation today. Thank you. Steve Mason, if you'd come forward and do our guest introductions.
Thank you, President Karen. The Rotary Club of Tulsa would like to welcome you to Club number 2500 in District 6110. We welcome all of our visitors and all of our Rotarians. At this time, I'd like to introduce our visitors. When I call your name of the host Rotarian and the visitor, please stand, and we'll hold our applause until everybody has been introduced. Today we have Chuck Wilson hosting Reverend Cassie Riggs, co-pastor of First Christian Church. Diane Peacock hosting City Councilor District 2, Jeannie Q. Her City Council District is home of Margaritaville. Marlene Libiday is hosting Brian McKinney, Director of Marketing for Monterrey's Little Mexico. John Shields is hosting Andy Langston, Director of Gaming with River Spirit, and James Factor, AGM with River Spirit. Bob Jack hosting Ryan Haney, Manhattan Construction. Bob Sade hosting Ron Kirkendall, Sade Music. And a guest of our speaker, Chief Tiger, Jim Gray with Gray & Gray Consultants. Welcome, visitors. At this time, we'd like to recognize our visiting Rotarians. Today we have one from Bigsby, Wayne Schwanet. Hi, Wayne. Again, thank you for visiting, and I hope you'll come back and visit with us and consider membership. Thank you.
We've got another guest of the Cherokee Nation today. It's former Mayor Vic Vreeland. And Vic, nice to have you here as well. He's ornery. And project announcements. Brian Bovard, Camp Enterprise.
Moxie, That was the theme that Tracy Poe came up with over a year ago, and it's our theme for this year's Camp Enterprise. Camp Enterprise started in 1976, and it's designated for high school juniors. We get about 100. We get our Rotary Youth Exchange as part of the program. We'll go out to almost 45 high schools to recruit these high school juniors. They'll fill out an application. We'll do a selection process. And 3 things I need your help with today. On your table, you'll see some wonderful mug shots of past chairman of Camp Enterprise. If you would like to be on the committee, the front part of the form, please write your name down and we'll add it to the committee. It is this April 3rd through the 6th, 2014. We have some exciting new and past partnerships. The University of Tulsa will be helping us out again with our Entrepreneurship Day through their business school at TU. And then we also have moved the camp to Shepherd's Fold, which is just north of town, 40 to 45 minutes, depending on how fast you drive. One of our objectives is to get more Rotarians involved throughout the process. It's a 4-day camp teaching high school juniors about the free enterprise system. Jimmy Sade started it, and he realized they could make it all the way through high school and not understand how he earned a living or about how a lot of you earn a living. We also cover nonprofit type emphasis. It's not a leadership camp, it is a business camp. They have a lot of fun doing it. So if you're on the front page, borrow a pen from someone at your table, write your name down if you want to be on the committee. Now we're doing a little push-pull marketing. On the back side, I've had more people come up and say, I've got a high school junior. 2 of our past chairs, John Dellavedova has a son who's a junior, Mike Holman has a son who's a junior, and they want to go to Camp Enterprise this spring. So if you have a junior, know a junior, we just need the ability to be able to contact them and then know to contact their school to say, these people are interested. The third item, I have a business card on there. If you're interested in participating as a corporate sponsor, one of the things we're also looking at is potentially hosting a job fair for these 100 high school juniors. If you have opportunities and you're doing your budgeting for 2014, you might have a summer internship in there. Send me an email or give me a call. But if you'll do me a favor, fill out the form. We'll contact the students. We'll put you on the committee. And then if you know someone that might be interested, take one of my cards, let them go to the website. Now, did I get a website up there, John? I want to especially thank 2 people.
Oh, that's a thank you right there.
Wow.
They're calling to make sure you remembered
I
the
got
thank
these-
you. But
Sorry.
we'll get the website. Can we just,
You bet, no problem. Thank 2 people. I love it. I called Ron Butler this summer, and I go, Ron, can you help me out with the graphics and everything? He said, well, I'm in Phoenix. So I appreciate very much Ron doing all the graphic work. And then Guru Stew Group has done a fantastic job. The website's been totally revamped, and they can do online applications starting now. So Camp Enterprise, sign up. Thank you.
Yay, Brian, thank you. Well done. Trish Kirkstra, Youth Exchange.
Thank you, President Karen. All right, I have 4 short announcements for Rotary Youth Exchange. Number 1, we're also taking applications right now. If you have a niece, nephew, grandchild, child who wants to go overseas next year and study in another culture, in another language, it's a great opportunity. So they spend their junior, senior year in another country. Applications are due very early November so that they can participate in the whole interview process that happens mid-November and at the district level in early December. Number 2, we are seeking donations for our one fundraiser of the year. It happens at the district conference. Maybe you'll be talking about that, I'm not sure. But if you can't make it to the conference and been on something fabulous, consider a donation. For those of you who've already donated, thank you so much. All of the others of you, if you want to donate a gift card or something, we'll put together a really fun basket from our club, and we'll make that part of it. You can just contact me for that. Number 3, we need someone on our committee Brian, maybe I'll join your committee if you'll join mine. I don't know. We have the same target audience, these high school kids. But we're looking for someone to work on our database. It takes a lot of time, and just one person who doesn't, you don't have to host a kid, you don't have to take him anywhere, but if you can work on a computer, that would be like the perfect little fit for someone. So let us know. And number 4, the most important aspect of our program, we're looking for host families. We want our second and third host families this year to come from our club. We have 2 outstanding young men. They're both at Bishop Kelly. They're fantastic. If you're interested in learning more about it or hearing more about it, let me, Duff Weddle, John Howland, Eric Ortega, John Raines, Joy Longmire, one of us know. Thank you.
Thank you, Tricia. Trey Walling, IBA.
So Brian and Trish have just made this incredibly easy on me because they're asking for your children and their moxie. I'm only asking for your money. Now, I'm here to announce that we are kicking off the early bird program for the 2014 IBA Awards. Prices will remain the same as they were last year. We will have the early bird reservation cards on tables next week, so please look for those. And a quick reminder regarding early bird, aside from the financial savings, you're stack ranked for your table position based on when you buy. So for those of you that may have not had the best view in the past, the earlier you get in, the better position your table is going to be. If you have any questions, want to jump on now, please don't hesitate to contact me this afternoon after the meeting, whatever works best for you. We'd love to have you at the awards this year. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Trey. Mandy Lemus.
I nearly forgot the most important thing. This is Donna Brooks. She is our guest today from the Owasso, Oklahoma Baptist Children's Home. And as part of the Club Foundation grants, they applied and were awarded a grant this last go-round. So I'm going to let her tell you more about what it was and what they're doing with it.
First of all, thank you for allowing us to be here today and the great hospitality that you've shown us. What a friendly, welcoming group you are, and we've just enjoyed being with you today. We are very grateful for your help. You have helped us purchase a new copier machine for our Owasso campus and our administrative building. It may not seem to you something that would help children that much, but it certainly does, because it will be a great help to make our caseworkers and all of our administrative staff much more efficient and faster in the work that they do. And if they are able to be faster and more efficient, they're able to spend more time with the children that we serve at the children's home. So we're just very grateful for this awesome new piece of equipment, and it has all the bells and whistles. We never had a scanner before. We didn't have that integrated email capacity, and we are enjoying it so much, and the best part, it works very consistently. So thank you, thank you. Mandy said I had just a brief time to tell you a little bit about the Owasso Baptist Children's Home. We are part of a larger organization here in Oklahoma called Oklahoma Baptist Homes for Children. We are the largest provider of private child care in Oklahoma. We have 4 campuses. Of course, you know about our Owasso campus. We have our original children's home, which has been there since 1903 in Oklahoma City. Our Boys Ranch Town, which is located in Edmond, and a special home for girls down in Medill, Oklahoma. We serve children that need hope and need a home, and they come to us for a diverse group of reasons. They come because of poverty, about 14%. They come because they have family members, parents that are incarcerated. Increasingly, we're seeing that, as you all know, we are leading the nation in incarceration of women in our state. So we increasingly see that. We're seeing more and more children come to us because their grandparents are unable to care for them because they'd fallen into the care of their grandparents. Many of our children come because of some kind of physical or sexual abuse. So We are just grateful for all the help from our Tulsa and surrounding area community to help us provide a caring home for these children in a setting of a home where 8 children live in a home with 2 caring house parents who provide all of their needs. We go to the Owasso Public Schools. We try to be a big part of the community and to also to give back and serve in our community, provide many opportunities for these children. I'm very excited to learn more about our Rotary-sponsored camp, and we're going to look into participating in that because we're providing both hope and homes for children.
Donna, thank
Thank
you so
you.
much.
I
Thank
think she
you.
got the hint I could have gone on a wall. Thank you.
Thank
very much.
you. And Mandy, thank you for all your work on your committee. You've done a great job. Sergeant at Arms, Janet Rockefeller has taken a little time off, and David Downing is here, but I'm sure Janet is also with us.
You know, President Karen, in high school, my hair was longer than that. I don't know. I think I'll start by invoking a little past Sergeant at Arms privilege and fining Brian Bovard for having his phone ring. $50, Brian. $50. Plus it was too long. Okay, caught in the act this week. 3 Rotarians, exemplary Rotarians, caught in the act this week by the Tulsa World, Wayne Green, Wayne Green introducing Keith Ballard, Don Walker, and Jared Clancy as members of the board of the the Community Advisory Board, Tulsa World Editorial Department. That's really nice. Well done, gentlemen.
Yeah.
Jeff Hassel paid us a fine this week of $100 for his son Josh, who is playing D1 ball at Holy Cross. I'm assuming that $100 is an advance on your fee for his signing bonus that I'm sure he'll have after his freshman year, so bring the rest of it next week. Nice job, Jeff. Thank you very much. Brian Brandwine paid us $100 for his 29 years of marriage, 15 years in Rotary, and 56 years on the planet, and nothing for his ability to add up to 100. So, Brian, thank you for that very much. And hey, look, last week was the Business Visitation Day. Hey, look, last week, there it is. Chef Devin, Paula Wood, and your Sarge, Janet, enjoyed shooters for lunch. Now, I'm not sure what shooters are, but I bet they're better than the sandwiches that Greg Keck offered us at his place. I'm sorry. I'll find myself $20 for that shameless slam there. Thank you very much. But that was nice, and I'm glad, I guess it was good that the judge was there, so they probably shouldn't have been drinking at lunch. Also, Janet wanted me to rub it into everybody. She's actually in Colorado, enjoying fall foliage in Colorado. And she said something about the Adeline Hornbeck homestead. Don't know what that is. If anybody knows, please email me and let me know. All in, $200 this week, President Karen, for the Club Foundation.
Yay, thank you. And now our Rotarian of the Day, Bob Jack, joined our club in November of 2011. Bob serves you this year as our program committee chair. He is Senior Vice President, Tulsa Division Manager of Manhattan Construction Company. Please welcome the shrinking man and Rotarian of the Day, Bob Jack.
Look at that picture. I got to get a new picture, guys. It's been, look at that. Is that terrible? This is really an exciting day for me because I'm going to be able to introduce some friends that we started to establish a relationship about 6 months to build an exciting project in the city of Tulsa, which will be just an unbelievable thing when it gets done. We're going to spend in excess of $300 million, and it'll be the largest construction site in Tulsa in my memories, and I've been here since the 70s. So it's going to be a great project, and it's going to have an immense economic impact on the city of Tulsa and along Riverside Drive, and all the other things that are going to happen along there. It's just going to be over the next several years. We're really going to be blessed with what's happening. I'd first like to introduce Chief George Tiger. Chief Tiger has been the chief since 2012. He's got the vision for the Muskogee Creek Nation that's really impressive, from the economic development to the education standpoint to the medical. We're doing a medical clinic. He's got the people of his nation in his heart, and it's going to be exciting for us to watch that nation develop over the next several years under Chief Tiger's leadership. So the other speaker, we've got a twofer today. Jerry Floyd is the general manager at River Spirit Casino, and he'll be able to talk a little bit more in depth about what's going to happen along the river down there. Jerry's the one responsible for putting water in the river, so we'll see how that all works. How it all works out. Isn't that right, Chief? I think that's it. Part of his job description. So, with that, I'd like you to give Chief Tiger a Rotarian welcome. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Yes, it is. 5 o'clock somewhere, right? By the way, Bob is after, I'm before. Now you know where the weight loss went to. Just out of respect to teachings of my elders, I want to greet you in my language. Momen hayo itik tang yam balak chat. Slavatskazet, mahinwazet, maro chigajeros. I'm honored and humbled to stand before you, and I thank you for this wonderful opportunity. I want to thank this fine organization for what you do in the communities. You know, people don't realize the tremendous history that you have. Even though a lot of us know about Rotary, you're still a best kept secret. You really are. But I believe that today you're in for maybe a long afternoon. You've got a politician in front of you, two of us. Then I'm going to be followed by a former radio personality who happens to be a general manager of our casino. As it's already been said, there is excitement in the air. And to have the music as we came in, I almost was tempted to tell you I'm Jimmy Buffett's double. Maybe up here, but not here. We're excited because on Tuesday, we're going to be breaking ground for what we know is going to be a beautiful facility that not only we at Muskogee Creek Nation will be proud of, but I believe the community of Tulsa and the surrounding areas. Not only will it be a facility, but in the building of it, it's going to provide much needed jobs in this area. And I believe that whenever we, as communities, whether it's as Indian people or African American people, whenever we're able to share resources and do the things that we're doing in today's economy, it's a win-win for everybody. I strongly believe in partnerships. I think for too long, especially here in Oklahoma, that we have resources as Indian tribes and Indian tribal governments that I feel is very important to share with the communities that we share. For too long, we took each other to court instead of sitting across the table from each other and say, what if? We're at a point now where, as an example, Bob mentioned it, that we're going to be building a new hospital, possibly 2 new hospitals, one in Okemah and one in Okmulgee. But because of who we are and what we do as a tribal government, and because of our tradition and culture that we're to help one another, we, about a month ago, kept the doors open to a much-needed hospital in Okmulgee, Oklahoma. They were on the brink of closing those doors, but a lot of our people were using that facility, and a lot of non-Indian people relied on that facility for health care. And we stepped in and we said, you know, we want to help. So we took over the ownership of the hospital. For the first time in the history of this great state that we live in, there was a partnership that was developed between a university and a tribal government, a sovereign nation. As we took over the ownership of the Georgian Ice Center located just north of our Capitol complex in Okmulgee, and we were able to work that out with the University of Oklahoma. And I tell you what, it sure is a lot easier to do things in a way that we were taught to be able to do, and that's to share resources, that's to help one another, and that's who we are as Oklahomans. I believe that when we share resources, it's a win-win for everybody. We cover an 8-county to 11-county jurisdiction within the northeastern part of this great state. Many of you remember not too long ago we had a rampant wildfires in this state of ours. As a tribal government, we took it upon ourselves to go to these communities that didn't have fire departments and say, how can we help? We were able to fund fire equipment in some of those small communities so that if that happened again, they would be prepared to allow for them to fight those fires. We're approached by some of our smaller communities that we share to be able to help fund law enforcement equipment, even donate cars to those small communities, because there is a need out there. That's who we are as tribal governments. For too long, it was always Indian versus whoever. And now we're saying, and I don't call it plagiarism, I call it research. I heard my friend Jim Gray use this line one time, and I tease a lot of my friends in the legislature in Oklahoma about it, but it's true. You know, you guys forget we're Oklahomans too. We get to vote in your election, you just can't vote in ours. Right, Jim? Yeah. But we laugh about that. But today, there's a strong indication throughout Oklahoma how important it is to share resources. I love telling stories across the country about here in Oklahoma, we have 39 federally recognized tribes. And it makes my heart feel proud to be able to go throughout Oklahoma and see our Indian people with their heads held a little bit higher, their step a little bit lighter. Because collectively, as Indian tribes here in Oklahoma, we provide a tremendous amount of impact on this state's economy. Collectively, as tribes here in Oklahoma, we're either at the top or the second largest employers in the state of Oklahoma. And collectively, we're all Oklahomans. Whenever the state sees us as equals, that says a lot about who we are as the state of Oklahoma. And as I said, it's no longer us versus whoever. It's about keeping this state strong. It's about keeping the ability for jobs to stay here. That's one thing I want to tell you. This big project that we're getting ready to build, when it's all said and done, we have First Margarita in there. All those jobs, all those monies, all those revenues that facility will be able to bring to this community stays here in Oklahoma. It doesn't go anywhere else. It doesn't go to a corporate office. It stays here in Oklahoma. And that dollar turns over. And it turns over. And I believe that's what we all share in, is the fact that, again, we're all Oklahomans. I want to share with you a couple of very important things coming up. Again, on Tuesday at 1 p.m., down at 81st and Riverside, we're having a groundbreaking. You're more than welcome to come. Starting on Sunday of this week, the city of Tulsa is hosting the National Congress of American Indians National Conference. And it's ironic that we're holding it here in Tulsa, where it was settled by Muskogee Creek people after a trail of tears alongside the banks of the Arkansas. And it was started here in 1950 as a means for American Indian tribes and tribal governments to get together and to be a force of one. And we're pleased that they're coming to Tulsa, and they'll be here all week next week. On Saturday night here in Tulsa, right after OU beats Texas, Sooner. We're having our second annual gala, our Hall of Fame gala. And this year, we're going to have 3 inductees. One is Jack Jacobs. Jack Jacobs was a full-blood Creek Indian that was an All-American at the University of Oklahoma, played football. The other is Dr. Phyllis Fife, well-known educator, who will be retiring in January from Northeastern Oklahoma State University. And the third is a very traditional, culturally rich ceremonial leader, Miko George Thompson of our Hickory Ground Ceremonial Grounds. And we're having these galas to raise money for a privately funded foundation for higher education. One thing that we're very proud of at Creek Nation is we were one of the very first tribes in the country to provide scholarships for our students that wanted to go to school, higher education. When I came in, I said, you know, we can do more. Yes, we're using our tribal funds, but I know that we could also enhance what we're doing with higher education funds by providing the means for our students to have access to more scholarships. And that's the intent for having our galas, to raise money. In addition, raising money for our tourism department, who puts on our annual festival. Last 2 years, it's been record-breaking crowds at our festival. Next year will be the 40th festival. Last year we had 30,000 plus, and we had quite a lineup of entertainment. We had Gladys Knight, Temptations, a little Motown. This year we had Natalie Cole and Smokey Robinson. Next year be Karen Keith and no. But that's why we have a gala, is to help fund those 2 very important things that we do at Creek Nation. I am very honored to be with you this afternoon. I have another appointment I have to get to, but I know that Jerry will do a great job in presenting what we see happening at the site at Margaritaville and 81st and Riverside. Who would have thought that we've came from being a public nuisance in 1988 to now it'll be a tourism stop at Margaritaville. Continue doing what you're doing as a great organization. And let's continue forming these partnerships to have strong communities and strong Oklahoma. May God bless you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Chief. I appreciate the opportunity to assist in any way I can. And it gives me great honor and it's a privilege for me to talk about one thing that I'm very passionate about, and that's the success of our Muskogee people. As Chief mentioned, we've come a long way. And I know you're all interested in hearing about the expansion that we have coming up. But I think it's very important that we take a step back before we go forward, just to let you know a little bit about how we've gotten to where we are today. As most of you, being Oklahomans, know, we have more Native American tribes here than any other state in the country, but none of us are native to Oklahoma. Muskogee Nation, our ancestors resided in the Southeast, Alabama, Georgia, and Florida. The Indian Removal Act of 1830 was the forced removal of our tribe, as well as many others, from their homelands to the lands west of the Mississippi set aside for relocation, known as Indian Territory, and now the state of Oklahoma. The Creek Territory that was assigned to us, as Chief mentioned also, covers parts of 11 counties in northeast Oklahoma, Tulsa County included in that territory. So the first removal that we started was in about this time of the year, in the fall of 1836. We had, the government had rounded up over 900 of our citizens, men, women, and children, just northeast of Montgomery, Alabama, and they started their march. And they walked through the fall and the winter and arrived at Fort Gibson in the spring of the next year. Starting with over 900, when they arrived here, there were just barely over 600 that survived. So when they got here, they were quite literally strangers in a new land, and they, being Creek people, and that name of the creek came in back in the historical documents, as I mentioned, being from the southeast. Our ancestors hunted, they fished, they raised crops and livestock, and they liked to reside along bodies of water, rivers and streams. So as the European settlers started going down into our territory through the migration, they started referring to us in their historical documents as Creek people, because they could generally find our ancestors located near those bodies of water. So being Creek people, when we got here, they were looking for something, since they were strangers, something that reminded them of home. And so they searched high and low, and they found one spot that overlooked a flowing river, just like home. It was on a low-sloping hill, and at the top of that low-sloping hill was a majestic oak tree. And you may not know, but the Creek Nation has had a recognized form of government by foreign countries for some 200 years prior to the United States of America. We have a legislative and executive, as well as a judicial branch of government. And so our national council is comparable to the United States Congress. And so they found this majestic oak tree that set up on top of that low sloping hill overlooking the river, and they thought, you know, this is about as close to home as we've found so far. So they had been carrying ashes from our last traditional fires in Alabama. They put the ashes down, relit the fires, and held what's called a busk ceremony that commemorated those who died along the way. And immediately thereafter, they convened the first national council meeting in the new territory. And that tree, they must have known where they were picking, because that tree, some 170 plus years later, the river's been dammed up to form Lake Keystone. That low sloping hill that was overlooking the river, you can't see the river from that tree now because of homes and condos that populate that land, but the tree is still there. It's the city of Tulsa put a park around there to commemorate that. It's the Council Oak Tree Park. It's not even a mile from where we're gathered today. So it's very significant to our people that a little while later, the city of Tulsa started, started by Creek people and settlers that were coming into the area as well. And with the when the people got in here, in exchange for the lands that we gave away to the nation in our traditional lands, they promised us the lands here in Indian territory. So every individual Indian that survived of the Creeks and the other tribes that survived their march to Indian territory, when they signed the roll books at Fort Gibson, or actually in Muskogee at Agency Hill, currently the building houses the Five Civilized Tribes Museum. That's where the Dawes Commission set up. So when they marched them from Fort Gibson, they marched them up the hill, and if you were willing to sign your name on that book to say, yes, I'm an Indian, they gave you an allotment of land. So those that did got their allotments, and after they were given out, the government came to the tribal council and said, look, we've given out all the land, but there's a parcel of land that we didn't give out because it's worthless. Half in the river, the rest is just sand. If you want it, we'll give it to you. And our forefathers said, yes, we'll take it. And so that was in 1837 that they took possession of a piece of land on the documents. Historical records is referred to as the Mackey site or the Mackey sandbar. And that worthless piece of land that's never left the tribe's hand, little did anyone know that, of course, as I'd mentioned earlier, the city of Tulsa would spring up. And then the state would become a state, and people would start flocking to this area. And the city of Tulsa, if anyone that knows, started downtown and actually in the northern part, in the Brady District area, and migrated south. So that 170 years later, that worthless piece of property is what we call River Spirit. And we, in the early 1980s, we heard that there was something called Indian gaming that we might be able to do. At that time, it was simply bingo and pull tabs. So they passed an ordinance in the tribe allowing that, and in 1988 we opened the doors to a place called Creek Nation Tulsa Bingo. And I don't know if anybody around here are familiar with that or ever played bingo out there. It soon became the most popular and one of the most profitable bingo halls in the United States. We had a satellite uplink television studio. We distributed high-stakes games all across the nation to other Indian bingo halls. And then a little bit later, as the computer technology in the latter part of the 80s took into effect, we had a company come in and say, we think we can take that bingo paper and convert it electronically and put these computer terminals out there for people to play more bingo in the electronic mode. So they did that, and it was a success. We had the first of 2 companies that started that product at our site, and it went over very well. A little while later, another company came to us, and they rolled in this empty box. It was a slot machine cabinet, and they said, we think now we can take the product those people developed and take it a step further. We can change, it's still bingo legally, but we can put symbols on there so that the players, most of them won't care, but they're still playing bingo, but it looks and plays similar to a slot machine. And of course, it was illegal in Oklahoma to have slot machines at the time. So we were very concerned. The lawyers said it was worth taking the chance. And we beta tested the very first 2 machines ever in existence, one known as Mega Mania and Flash Cash, the other one. And they were a tremendous success. The players loved them. They installed around Indian country all over, but everybody said you can't do that, and they wanted to stop us from doing that. So they took us to court. That court case went all the way to the 10th Circuit Court of Appeals in Denver, and we won the case that they were Class II gaming, which is legal in Indian country. And after that, that's when you started seeing the bingo halls shrink in size, and they would add more games. And that started the trend around the United States for tribes to get into the casino industry in their various jurisdictions. And it's been a tremendous success to all of Indian country for that. And so 5 years ago, or almost 5 years ago, the tribe invested and opened up our current building, which is River Spirit. And if I can have my graphic up on the screen here, we'll start showing a little bit about that. River Spirit opened 5 years ago with just over 2,600 gaming machines, both Class II and Class III, which the Class III games are covered under the Tribal State Compact with the state of Oklahoma. We opened up with a number of restaurants, Visions Buffet, one of the largest buffets in the state of Oklahoma, Elements Steakhouse and Grill, Fine Dining, Scoreboard Sports Bar, and other venues in there. We had the Mystic River Lounge, which is a night spot in there that's very, very exciting, and a lot of people go there. The tribe has done very well with that property. We've never had a hotel, though, and so we've always been at a disadvantage because our competitor over in Tulsa built a hotel, and so they were taking a lot of my guests, and still do take a lot of my valued guests, and give them free hotel rooms, which we've been unable to provide for them. So in the industry, we're known as a locals casino, and so we knew that we would have to make the progression to be competitive, to be able to take the next step and build that hotel. So plans were started immediately toward what we call our Phase 2 of River Spirit. And they're very exciting as we look at some of the slides here. This is the artist rendition of the new entrance to River Spirit Casino, which will include many, many great and fun things. You've all heard about the Margaritaville expansion. A little over a year and a half ago, Pat Crofts, our CEO, and I started discussions with Jimmy Buffett's Margaritaville, and they had never been in tribal gaming. We will be their first venture into tribal gaming, but they operate Margaritaville restaurants in all over the world in various locations. They've got several Margaritaville casinos, but we'll be their first tribal facility when we open up. So we'll have about 1,000 machines in that Margaritaville casino located at River Spirit. Of course, you see the hotel will be about a 27-story hotel with 483 rooms and suites combination. It's a tremendous project. The next couple of slides, here's an example of the typical room that you will see in the hotel, and the restroom facilities in that room as well. A lot of things are going to be taking place. You saw the front. This is the backside. And of course, we've got to be optimistic because, as you notice, there's actually water in that river again. So we hold out hope, and if ever you all, chief assigned me or someone assigned me to getting water in the river, if you'll all take those glasses on your way out and head by and just throw your share in. That'll help us get there anyway. But we do hold out hope that eventually there will be water in that river with low water dams, and this is what we project that we will have as a finished product of our project between 81st and 91st. A lot of great things that you see in that slide will include, of course, the Margaritaville Casino. We'll be adding conference and meeting space. You can see the pool area for our resort guests as well there on the back end. On the right side, there will be a 2,500-seat theater showroom that will be state-of-the-art and will be a spectacular addition to our facility as well. On the back side, if you look along there, that's the future planned relocation of the River Parks Trail that has for many years traveled right along Riverside Drive and has been a danger to everyone that traverses that. I know many of you in here are bikers and joggers that try to maneuver around that, and it can be a challenge with the number of intersections and traffic that we have there. So we plan on moving that along the backside. That will open sometime after we relocate and rebuild here on this phase 2. A lot of exciting things in that as well. Like I mentioned, the River Trail. We'll also have a makeover of our River Spirit Casino inside of that. It's going to be very, very exciting. As we're looking at this slide, again, just pointing out at a few of the things, the number 1 there shows the Margaritaville Casino there, and I don't know if I can, which is easier here. I'll try to do this. Of course, the hotel. This is River Spirit in its existing casino format. The Margaritaville Casino will be right here. That will also contain the Margaritaville restaurant and bar, which is right here. There will be a brand new steakhouse, soon to be announced, nationally known steakhouse that goes in here. The theater complex is located right down here on this end. You'll also notice that the new entrance will be right here across Fred Creek. We'll have this is our existing parking garage, and we will expand that to accommodate another 1,000 vehicles here on this end as well. So it's a very exciting thing on the new construction side. On the River Spirit side, we plan on renovating that. We have an announcement that hopefully within the next 30 days we'll be announcing a nationally known classic American 24-hour-a-day diner that will be built inside of River Spirit Casino in its existing format. It'll get a complete makeover as it comes to 5 years old, and with the traffic we get, we got to keep ahead of the game on that. So the Mystic River Lounge that I mentioned, that's the main entertainment center within River Spirit, will be rebranded before Phase 2 gets completed, and that will become the It's 5 O'Clock Somewhere bar. So that our patrons and our guests will be able to get an early taste of what the Margaritaville theme will be like when we get that open as well. Talk quickly again about the partnership between Jimmy Buffett's Margaritaville and the Muskogee Creek Nation. Our competitor across town that I mentioned over in Catoosa a few years ago had the opportunity and seized the opportunity to partner with the Hard Rock brand, and that is a very good brand. We, in the competitive market they're in, we want to make sure that we stay competitive. So we looked far and wide to find something that will keep us ahead of the game. And we, like I said, Pat Crofts and I ran into the Margaritaville people just as they were opening their casino in Las Vegas at the grand opening, as a matter of fact, and visited with them, and they were interested. And the more research that we did, it was a near perfect match between our guests and the guests that they have at their Margaritaville locations. And come to find out, I don't know if there are any parrot heads in the room, but they're one of the largest parrot head clubs, which are the Jimmy Buffett Margaritaville fans. Here in Tulsa, Oklahoma, is one of the largest clubs anywhere in the country. So a lot of people like that brand, and so this gives us the opportunity to bring a lot of that home. You heard the music from the islands. We'll have a light theme in there so that people can come out, relax, and enjoy themselves, and offer and take advantage of the wonderful amenities that we'll be able to offer to you there at River Spirit and at Margaritaville. So the next few slides we're going to walk through here are just some artist renderings of the Jimmy Buffett Margaritaville, the restaurant. As you walk in, you notice there on the right there will be a retail outlet where you can pick up everything Jimmy Buffett and Margaritaville under the sun that they offer. As you walk on into the restaurant, you notice the seating. They have it as basically it's designed to look like a dock that you would walk up to or boat up to. And speaking of boating, you notice there are a couple of boats out there. We'll have a couple of the pontoon boats that will be converted into seating that are out there sitting in the harbor for you to go in through as well. As you go on in, just more seating, and you notice on the ceiling there, they have, in every one of their locations, they're painted to have a map representing every Margaritaville location that they have around the world. And so now they have to adjust that map painting to now include Tulsa, Oklahoma on there, which we're very excited about. This is just another view of the seating from the balcony area, which will have additional seating and another bar located up there, great for private dining and private parties. One thing that you'll see over in the background is the volcano trick that's over there, and I don't know, right in there, that's actually the stage down below it, but every hour in the evenings from 7 o'clock on to 10 o'clock, there will be a little show that goes along with that and make it a little more fun for all the patrons that are in there dining as well in the Margaritaville. Again, just another view of seating in the restaurant. I mentioned the 5 o'clock somewhere. Here's just a couple of artist renditions of what you will see on that. Again, this is our existing Mystic River Lounge, so if you've ever been to River Spirit and seen where that was, we totally renovate that to give it the island effect. You can see the carpeting will change so that it actually looks like water and sand and give you that island feel as you walk up into that. And we anticipate having all of this opening in 2012. We talked about all the amenities and everything. I would like to talk a little bit about the economics of the entire project. We, as Chief Tiger mentioned, we want to try to keep everything as local as we can. We've got Manhattan and Redstone construction companies, both local, that are going to be building the project and overseeing the project for us. Program Management Group is our program management firm located here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I know that the construction aspect, they're wanting to hire as many local tradespeople and skilled labor and unskilled labor as possible to come in and work on those projects. Last projection I heard that there would be roughly 2,000 people, 2,000 jobs created during the construction aspect of building the River Spirit Phase 2. And some of the things that make that very important, the estimated total effect on the Tulsa area economy during construction is over $609 million. And that's money that, as Chief Tiger mentioned, that rolls over and over again. They buy groceries, they buy gasoline, they go out to our restaurants in our communities, and they spend that money locally. So in order to be good neighbors, we made it a point that we wanted to try to keep all that money local if we could. Once we get open, we anticipate hiring another 800 employees. Currently, we staff about 980 employees full-time at River Spirit. With the addition of the Margaritaville and the hotel and all, we will add about another 800, possibly more, of those full-time jobs there, which will have a significant ongoing impact of estimate of over $135 million annually to the local economy just in payroll alone. So there you have what we're looking forward to coming up in our Phase 2 in the Margaritaville. As Chief Tiger mentioned, Tuesday will be an exciting day on the 15th as we have our groundbreaking ceremony, and we plan on turning dirt very shortly thereafter, starting some road work around on the property as the initial phase to starting to build that over there. So I would like to thank each and every one of you for allowing Chief Tiger and I to be here this afternoon and to share some excitement and some good news for the city of Tulsa with all of you. And President Karen, thank you very much.
And we have a couple of Rotarians that'll be working on that project, and that's Kirby Crow with the Program Management Group. Kirby, there you go. Bob Jack, of course, is working on it as well. Is anybody else in the room working on the project? It's going to be huge for our economy, so I'm pretty excited. And the vision, too, once we get the water in the river, you'll see boats crossing over to the Riverwalk crossing because, again, the Creek Nation is now working to make the Riverwalk crossing a viable retail center and restaurant.
Might add, just if you noticed on the renditions, we are making plans for a dock out there so that when water does come, we'll be able to have water taxis.
Yep. I mean, that's going to be fantastic. So we got to vote some money, right, Don Walker, to get those low water dams. So you'll be hearing more about that as things move forward. And I have to tell you, too, if you haven't eaten that Elements dining room, it is some of the best food. Jerry has hosted us when we bring the Arabians in for I don't know how many years, about this time of year, and we go there and have the best meal of the year. It's a fantastic restaurant. So again, Jerry, thank you so much for sharing with us. We got a sneak preview that nobody has seen. Tuesday, this will be rolled out. There's no media here because we had to behave ourselves, but we got a little sneak preview. So thank you again. We appreciate that very much. We have a book that we'll be giving to Celia Clinton in your honor, and they thank you for that as well. Upcoming programs, Mike Garrett, the athletic director at Langston University, and then Susan Ford Bales, October 23rd, Life in the White House and Beyond. She's President Ford's daughter, lives right here in Tulsa. I think you're really going to enjoy her. And before we go, our Rotarian who has been keeping everybody safe at the Tulsa State Fair. He's our mystery Rotarian. In addition to his business, keeping plants alive and healthy in our offices and public spaces, our mystery Rotarian is a reserve sheriff's deputy, volunteering countless hours, making sure that we're safe. Well, you already heard that Saturday night at the fair, Mark had some issues, a heart attack. And despite his protests, the IMSA medics carted him off to the hospital. So, Mark, would you please stand up? I do have one question for you. So did you have one corn dog too many? Now, all joking aside, Mark really fought the IMSA medics. I'm fine, I'm okay, I've got indigestion. So while we're having some fun with this, Mark's message to you is that when your body's telling you and you're feeling some really pressure around your chest, to be proactive. And he is so grateful that they drug him to the hospital. He's got stents, and he's here today and looking great. And we're so grateful. But thank you, Mark. And we were pulling him off as Mystery Rotarian. He said, "Nah, put it back up. Let's just do it." So thank you. Yes. Oh, boy. Okay, that was... All right, as we leave today, Jim Starr Steel Band is going to escort us out. Thank you all for coming. Sorry we're a little bit over, but it was kind of fun. Thank you. See you next week.